Howdy, y'all. Swan, Marion, the bookworm cowboy, back again for another round of Rick Riordan's The Kane Chronicles, Serpent's Shadow. Chapter 10. Take your daughter to work, day goes horribly wrong. As they approached the door, Cardin Walt waved at us from the bow of the Egyptian queen. Next to them stood the captain, blood-stained blade, who looked quite dashing in his riverboat pilot's uniform, except for the fact that his head was a blood-speckled, double-sided axe. That's a demon, said Dios, I never sleep. Yes, I said. Is it safe? I raised my eyebrow at her. Of course not, she said. Of course not, she muttered. I'm traveling with the Canes. Crew of glowing ropes slipped around the boat, pulling lines and lowering the gangplank. Carter looked tired. He wore jeans and a rumpled shirt with specks of barbecue sauce on it. His hair was wet and flat on one side, as if he'd fallen asleep in the shower. Walt looked much better, but really there was no contest. He wore his usual sleeveless shirt and workout pants, and managed to smile for me even though his posture made it obvious he was in pain. The shin charm on my necklace seemed to heat up, or perhaps that was just my body temperature rising. Zia and I climbed the gangplank. Bloodstained blade bowed, which was quite unnerving as his head would have sliced a watermelon in half. Welcome aboard, Lady Kane. His voice was a metallic hum from the edge of his frontal blade. I am at your service. Thanks ever so, I said. Carter, may I speak with you? I grabbed his ear and pulled him toward the deckhouse. Ow! He complained as I dragged him along. I suppose doing that in front of Zia wasn't nice, but I thought I might as well give her pointers on how to best handle my brother. Walt and Zia followed us into the main dining hall room. As usual, the mahogany table was laden with platters of fresh food. The chandelier illuminated one colorful wall murals of Egyptian gods, gilded columns, and ornamentally molded ceiling. I let go of Carter's ear and snarled. Have you lost your mind? Ow! He yelled again. What is your problem? My problem? I said, lowering my voice. Suddenly, someone just spoke in your Captain, you bastard warned us to split our throats if he ever caught the opportunity. He's under a magical binding, Carter argued. He was fine last time. Last time, Bast was with us, I reminded him, and if you think I can trust a demon named Bloodstained Blade farther than me, I can. Guys, Paul interrupted. Bloodstained Blade entered the dining room, dipping his head axe under the door frame. Lord and Lady Kane, the journey is short from here. We will arrive at the Hall of Judgment in approximately 20 minutes. Thanks, BSP. Carter said as he rubbed his ears. We'll join you on deck soon. Very good, said the demon. What are your orders when we arrive? I tensed, hoping Carter had thought ahead. Bass had warned us that demons needed very clear instructions to stay under control. You will wait for us while we visit the Hall of Judgment, Carter announced. When we return, you'll take us where we wish to go. As you say. Bloodstained Blade turned a hint of disappointment. was that my imagination? After we left the frowned. Calder, in this case, I agree with Sadie. How can we trust that you're able to get the ship belonging to our parents? Father said. He and I shared a look, silently agreeing that was enough. Said, our mom and dad had sailed this riverboat up the Thames to get back to the deal the night Mom had died releasing Bast from the abyss. Afterward, Dad had sat in this very room, grieving, with only the cat goddess and the demon captain for company. Bloodstained Blade had accepted us as his new masters. He followed us before, but that was little comfort. I didn't trust him. I didn't like being on this ship. On the other hand, we needed to get those halls of judgment. I was hungry and thirsty. I suppose I could do a 20-minute voyage. Meant to join with a chilled ribena and a plate of tandoori chicken with naan. Four of us sat around the table. We ate while we compared stories. All in all, it was quite possibly the most awkward double date in history. There are no shortage of dire emergencies to talk about. The dressing room was as thick as Cairo's small. Carter hadn't seen Zia in person for months. I could tell he was not trying not to stare. Zia was sitting uncomfortable, sitting so close to him. She kept leaning away, which no doubt hurt his feelings. Perhaps she was just worried about having another fireball throwing episode. As for me, I was elated to be next to Walt. But at the same time, I was desperately worried about him. I couldn't forget how he looked, wrapped in glowing mummy linen. I wondered what the neighbors had wanted to tell me about Walt's situation. Walt tried to hide it. He was obviously in great pain. Sam trembled as he picked up his peanut butter sandwich. Carter told me about the impending evacuation of Brooklyn House. Bass was overseeing. My heart nearly broken when he had thought of little Shelby. The wonderful city, Phoenix, Shy, Cleo, and the rest of the gang off to defend the first number against an impossible attack. I knew Carter was right. There was no other choice. Carter kept hesitating, as if waiting for Walt to contribute information. Walt stayed silent. Clearly he was holding something back. So I'd have to get Walt alone and Gabriel in for details. In return, I told Carter about our visit to the House of Rest. I shared my suspicion that Amos might be calling on set for extra power. Zia didn't contradict me, and the news didn't sit well with my brother. After a few minutes of swearing and pacing the room, he finally calmed down enough to say, we can't let that happen. He'll be destroyed. I know, I said, but we can best help him by moving forward. I didn't mention Zia's blackout in the nursing home. In Carter's present state of mind, I thought that might be too much for him. I did tell him that Tyler had said about the possible location of Best's shadow. The Ruin of Sighs. He frowned. I think Dan mentioned that place. He said there wasn't much left, but even if we could find the shadow, we don't have time. We have to stop Apophis. I made a promise. I insisted. Besides, we need Bess. Think of it as a trial run. Seeing this shadow will give us a chance to practice this sort of magic before we try it on Apophis. In the reverse, of course, Maddie didn't give us a way to revive Raw. But she's got a point, Walt interrupted. I'm not sure who was more surprised, Calder or me. Even if we get Setney's help, Walt said, trapping a shadow in the statue is going to be difficult. I'd feel better if we could try it on a friendly target first. I could show you how it's done while I still have time. Walt, I said, please don't talk like that. When you face Apophis, he continued, and you'll have only one chance to get the spell right. It would be better to have some practice. When you face Apophis, he said it so calmly, but his meaning was clear. He wouldn't be around when that happened. Carter nudged his half-eaten pizza. I just don't see how we can do it all in time. I know this is a personal mission for you, Sadie, but she has to. Leah said gently. Carter, you once went off on a personal mission in the middle of a crisis, didn't you? That worked out. She put her hand on Carter's. Sometimes you have to follow your heart. Carter looked like he was trying to swallow a golf ball. Before he could say anything, the ship's bell sounded. In the corner of the dining room, a loudspeaker crackled. The blood-stained blade's voice. My lords and ladies, we have reached the hall of judgment. Hold on. The Black Temple looked just as I remembered. We made our way up the steps from the dark and passed between rows of obsidian columns that marched into the gloom. Sinister looking scenes of the underworld life glittered on the floor and in friezes circling the pillars. Black designs on black stone. Spidery torches that burned every few meters. The air was so hazy with volcanic ash I couldn't see far in front of us. As we moved deeper into the temple, voices whispered around us. From out of the corner of my eye, I saw groups of spirits drifting across the pavilion, ghostly shapes camouflaged in smoky air. Some moved aimlessly, crying softly or tearing at their clothes in despair. Others carried armfuls of papyrus scrolls. These ghosts looked more solid and purposeful, as if they were waiting for something. Petitioners, Walt said. They brought their case files, hoping for an audience with Osiris. He was gone so long. There must be a real backlog of cases. Walt's steps seemed lighter. His eyes looked more alert, his body less weighed down by pain. He was so close to death, I'd feared this trip to England might be hard for him. But if anything, he had seen more of these than the rest of us. How do you know? I asked. Walt hesitated. I'm not sure. It just seems correct. And the ghosts without scrolls? Refugees, he said. They're hoping this place will protect them. I didn't ask what's wrong. I remember the ghost that the Brooklyn Academy dance had been engulfed in black tendrils and dragged underground. Thought about the vision Calder described on Mother Huddle beneath the cliff. Somewhere in the Duat, resisting the pull of a dark force in the distance. We need to hurry. I started to forge ahead. But Thea grabbed my arm. There, she said. Look. Smoke parted. 20 meters ahead stood a massive set of obsidian doors. In front of them, an animal the size of a greyhound sat on its haunches. An oversized jackal with thick black fur, fluffy pointed ears, and a face somewhere between a fox and a wolf. Its moon-colored eyes glittered in the darkness. It snarled at us, but I wasn't put off. I may be biased, but I think jackals are cute and cuddly, even if they were known for digging up graves in ancient Egypt. It's just Anubis, I said hopefully. This is where we met him last time. That's not Anubis, thought Mom. Of course it is. I told him, watch. Sadie, don't. Carter said by walk toward the Guardian. Hello, Anubis, I called. It's just me, Sadie. Cute fuzzy jackal bared its fangs. His mouth began to froth. His adorable yellow eyes sent out an unmistakable message. One more step and I'll chew your head off. I froze. Right, that's all, Anubis, unless he's having a really bad day. This is where we met him before. Carter said, why isn't he here? It's one of his minions, Walt ventured. Anubis must be elsewhere. Again, he sounded awfully sure. I felt a strange pang of jealousy. Walt and Anubis seemed to have spent more time talking with each other than with me. Walt was suddenly an expert on all things deathly. Meanwhile, I couldn't even be near Anubis without invoking the wrath of his chaperone. Shoo, the god of hot air. It wasn't bloody fair! Thea moved next to me, gripping her staff. So what now? Do we have to defeat it to pass? I imagined her lobbing out some of her daisy-destroying fireballs. That's all we needed. A yelping, flaming jackal running through my father's courtyard. No, Walt said, stepping forward. It's just a gatekeeper. It needs to know our business. Walt, Carter said, if you're wrong. Walt raised his hands and slowly approached the jackal. I am Walt Stone, he said. This is Carter and Sadie Kane. This is the Rashid, he has supplied. We have business at the Hall of Judgment, Walt said. Jackal snarled, but it sounded more inquisitive, not so chew your head off hostile. We have a testimony to offer, Walt continued, information relevant to the trial of Setman. Walt, Carter whispered, when did you become a junior lawyer? I shushed him. Walt's plan seemed to be working. Jackal tilted his head as if listening, then rose and padded away into the darkness. The obsidian double doors swung open silently. Well done, Walt. How did you? I. He faced me, and my heart did a somersault. Just for a moment, I thought he looked like. No. Obviously, my mixed up emotions were playing with my mind. How do you know what to say? Walt shrugged. I took a guess. Just as quickly as they'd opened, the doors began to close. Hurry! Shouted one. He sprinted into the courtroom of the dead. At the start of the autumn semester, the first experience in an American school, a teacher asked us to write down our parents' contact information and what they did for a living, in case they could help with career day. I never heard of career day. Once I understood what it was, I couldn't stop giggling. Did your dad come and talk about his work? I imagined the headmistress Day asking. Possibly, Mrs. Laird, I'd say. That he's dead, you see, but not completely dead. He's more of a resurrected god. He judges mortal spirits and feeds the hearts of the wicked to his pet monster. Only has blue skin. I'm sure he'd make quite an impression on career day for all those aspiring to grow up and become ancient Egyptian deities. All judgments had changed since my last visit. He room tended to mirror the thoughts of Osiris, so it often looked like a ghostly replica of my family's old apartment in Los Angeles, from the happier times when we all lived together. Now, possibly because Dad was on duty, the place was fully Egyptian. The circular chamber was lined with stone pillars carved in lotus flower designs. Braziers of magic fire washed the walls in green and blue light. In the center of the room stood the scales of justice. Two large golden saucers bounced from an iron tea. Kneeling before the scales was the ghost of a man in a pinstripe suit, nervously reciting from a scroll. I understood why he was tense. On either side of him stood a large reptilian demon with green skin, demon with a cobra head and a wicked-looking pole arm poised over the ghost's head. Dad sat at the far end of the room of the golden dyes. The blue-skinned Egyptian attendant at his side. Seeing my father in the duat was always disorienting, as he appeared to be two people at once. On one level, he looked like he had in life a handsome, muscular man with chocolate brown skin, bald cap, scalp, and a neatly trimmed goatee. He wore an elegant silk suit and dark traveling coat like a businessman about to board a private jet. On a deeper level of reality, whenever he appeared as Osiris, the god of the dead, he was dressed as a pharaoh in sandals in an embroidered linen kilt, in rows of gold and coral neckbands and on his bare chest. His skin was the color of the summer sky. Across his lap lay a crook and flail, the symbols of Egyptian kingship. As strange as it was seeing my father with blue skin and a skirt, I was so happy to be near him again. I forgot about the court proceedings. Dad! I ran toward him. Father said I was foolish, but Dad was the king of the court, wasn't he? I wasn't allowed to run up and say hello. I was halfway across when the snake demons crossed their pole arms and blocked my path. It's all right, Dad said, looking besorrowed. Let her through. I flew into his arms, knocking the crook and flail out of his lap. He warmly hugged me, warmly, chuckling with affection. For a moment I felt like a little girl again, safe in his embrace. Then he held me at arm's length. I could see how weary he was. He had bags under his eyes. His face was gaunt. Even the powerful blue aura of Osiris hung around him like the corona of a star flickered weakly. Sadie, my love, said in the strange voice, why have you come? I'm working. Try not to let us feel hurt. But Dad, this is important. Carter, Walt, and Thea approached the dais. My father's expression turned grim. I see, he said. First, let me finish this trial, children. Stand right here on my right.